Should it be shared or okay? One moment. Okay. Can everyone see this now? Um, and has everyone had it? Should I try to make it larger?
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Well, has this been shared?
Yeah, it's in it, Tom, it's on the website also.
Okay. So as long as everyone has access to it, you can either look at this now or but open it up, however, whatever makes sense for you. Um, but yeah, mainly wanted to go through this with everyone and make sure no one had any questions or everything was clear. At the end of the day, we just want you to build a website, something that you want to do. It can be a personal portfolio, but it doesn't have to be. Um, but yeah, so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all length, multiple pages, at least 3 pages. So home page, about page, portfolio page, really anything you want. Um, and then the other really large kind of item of the rubric is we want you to use one external API, kind of like the weather app. Um, but there's so this link, other API options, has hundreds of open free APIs in it. Um, some of those, there'll be ones in there that aren't open or that are deprecated. So if you're having problems, I would say reach out to a mentor and we can kind of all figure it out if it's one that works. These ones all definitely work. The Spotify API, the Star Wars API, the weather APIs are all, tested. Some of these are going to be, this is all open source, just put in there. Um, so some of them might not be great options, but a great resource. Um, You should have something that's triggered on a click event in your website. So it could be actually making the API call, or it could just be doing something else when you click on something that's triggering an event handler. Um, one loop and one conditional somewhere at least in your code, and use as much Flexbox as you can. I know that was something, I don't think you've learned CSS grid in the class, but it's something if you wanted to, you could use. It's pretty common now, but Flexboxes are great. Um, and I think that's really the rubric. Beyond that, here's some ideas for projects that you could do. But by all means, put yourself into it and express yourself, do whatever you want. Um, so questions?
Do we have to use one of the APIs given to us, or if we find an API that we're interested in, can we use it?
Yeah, you can use it if it's free. Yeah. Oh, I mean, or if you really want to pay for it, if yeah, there's no restrictions as far as that. I think, yeah, it doesn't have to be something on the list.
Due date, presentation date?
You're asking the wrong person. Lori,
Sure. I think we were looking at the 17th for a presentation date. Does that work for everybody? That's just like now Wednesday evening, maybe 5 o'clock. We wanted to check in with folks about that to see if that works for folks. And so then I think it would be due, what, just right before that, right? Oh, wait a second. The 7th. Yeah, okay. So it'd be due just shortly before that. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah.
Does that work for folks?
That will be due the 16th.
Yes, due the 16th, present on the 17th.
And right. And so I would say when it's due, what we're going to want from as the deliverable, I guess, would just be a link to your GitHub repo. That would be the most important thing. And then for the presentations, you can show us in the browser.
And there'll be a form. There'll be a form that you submit with the where you can put in your link. Does that work for folks? We can look at other times if that doesn't work, but it's hard to find something that works for everybody.
That works for me.
Cool. Great. Any other questions? Is all of the
I'm
rubric?
sorry.
Go ahead.
If no one else is going to speak up, I would appreciate if we had a full 2 weeks. I don't know, everything's getting a little bit more difficult, and it seems like we have three ideas, and that's about 4. I mean, technically that's like 4 days per idea from finalization, from like thought to finalization, because you have to also create 3 websites. I mean, 3, like essentially you're creating 3 websites. And maybe my talents will be able to do that, but I was just like, I would appreciate having the full like 2 weeks, like not chopping off a couple of days, like nah, I want my fat on my steak, essentially. So if we could like have it on that like like if we could do it on a Thursday or a Friday. I'm not saying give us like 3 weeks. I'm just saying like I if no one else is gonna say anything and you guys are asking for our opinions, I'd rather have the full 2 weeks.
I am just checking my calendar. How do others feel about that?
I mean, I agree with Grant. I was just going to cram everything I could in whatever we were given, but I mean, I agree with what Grant is saying. As far as like availability, I'm pretty flexible, so whatever works for everyone else.
Yeah, same. Either way is fine with me.
Tom, what do you think?
It's fine with me. I probably can't do the Thursday, but I could probably do the Friday.
Just checking. Yeah, I probably also can't do Thursday. I could do the Friday. Lydia, would you be around? We're still seeing your screen, Tom.
Oh, whoops, I was about to look at my schedule. You guys were all gonna see my schedule.
I could do Friday night.
So like Friday at 5?
That works.
Works for me.
Wait. I was looking at the wrong. Why? I think I was looking at Tom's. Like I thought Tom's schedule was mine. Here, let me check mine because I might be doing a conference that weekend.
We're talking about the 19th, right? Though, just so that I'm looking at the
Yeah.
right day. Okay.
All right, Grant, we're going to be expecting extra from those extra 2 days, extra website work. I'm just playing.
Grant, yours has to be 4 pages.
Wait, so it is Friday? It is the 19th, right?
Lydia, are you good on the 19th?
I mean, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, let's, if everyone's cool, let's do it.
Hi, I lagged out, so I just need, so what is happening? We're doing 19th, what? Sorry,
It's now on, the presentations are Friday the 19th at 5 o'clock.
okay, Friday 19th, 5
And the
o'clock.
due date is now the 18th.
Due date is, yeah, and the due date is now the 18th. So technically you have to turn in your GitHub repo links on the 18th, but if no one's gonna dock you if you commit any code on the 19th, I don't think. We'll kindly look the other direction.
And what should the presentations include, Tom?
I would say for your presentations, we'll probably try to keep them to 5 minutes a piece, right? And
Maybe a little bit less, depending on how many people we have.
yeah, and basically just introduce your app or your website, what it is, why you chose it, like why it's important to you, or just why you chose it if it's something that's fun. And then you're gonna want to walk us through, I think, really the API that you used, what data you're getting from it, how you're mapping through that data or looping through that data and displaying it on the screen, whatever click event you're using, and probably kind of how you chose to do your styling, how you did CSS. Really maybe answer, and then probably a minute or two of answering questions. If you have questions about any of it. And then just showing us the 3 pages that you did. I mean, have fun.
What do you guys think? Does that sound doable?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, great. All right, I think that's what we wanted to cover in terms of final projects. How about anything else?
Okay.
Anybody
so
have, go ahead.
I was just gonna reiterate for everybody and myself. We're making 3 web pages. We can use the APIs that are given or any APIs that we want. The GitHub needs to be uploaded by the 18th, and we're doing it on Friday the 19th at 5 o'clock. 5 minutes in total, unless it's more or less people, and you show off your website, explain things, 2 minutes of conversation. I like to be 100% about things because that's how I am. So
Awesome. We will also make sure that it goes in the announcements channel so that all that is out there,
okay.
out there for everyone. Yeah. And thanks for clarifying that all, Grant, everyone. All right, if that is all clear, how about other stuff? How's it going? How's everybody feeling about the class? How do you feel about where you're at? Y'all have all now surpassed me. You know, I started out with you.
Lori makes it a little further though every like 6 months. So
I do.
hopefully she's gonna get
I
there.
try to take every class, and each time I get a little further. So
You got past Battleship.
Yeah, that's
Oh, Lori,
actually
you sound like me. This is Francine. You sound like me now. I'm just enjoying it, learning whatever I can. So, hey.
in a couple years, I'm gonna know a whole lot.
There's a question in the chat. Is video required, like webcams required when you present?
I would say screen sharing is required. It would be great if people were on webcam, but if for whatever reason you can't, then I think that's totally cool.
Yeah, I think it's webcams strongly preferred, but screen sharing.
I have cats, that's why I asked. I don't want a cat running in front of my video.
I absolutely want a cat running.
Yeah,
in front of your
we all
video.
want cats running in front of your video.
Extra points if you have pets running through your video. Just kidding.
Kids.
As long as I don't have to do a 4th page, I'm good.
How many people are still in the class? Like we started out with like 50, right? Has it dwindled down a little bit?
You started out with about 30, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I don't know, there's probably 20, about 15, 20 left, which is not uncommon for a lot of programs like this. It's typical that a lot of people will start out, and so
Yeah,
that commitment is super important.
I assume we would lose at least half. So that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So no other questions. You guys feeling good about everything? Feeling good about the program? Feeling good about what you're learning? All right. Awesome.
I like Code the Dream. I went back to college this semester and I hate it. because I'm just basically writing down things in the textbook, just copying line for line, and it's annoying. Whereas Code the Dream, you give us like homework and we have the flexibility to figure out the problems instead of just copying down line for line. I don't feel like I'm learning anything in college right now. So if I could say anything, if I was going to tell someone to do coding, I would probably tell them to try out Code the Dream before going back to college. Also, because it's free, but you know.
You need to get that as a quote, Code the Dream. It's better than college.
Also, the fact that, one of my teachers is literally making us use W3 schools to do assignments, and I was like, wow, like I paid a teacher to tell me to use W3 schools, which is a free service. So
yeah, Tom, yours sounded better than mine. I was thinking the slogan would be like down with college, up with Code the Dream.
Oh wow. I mean, no one said that though. He said Code the Dream is better than college. I was just trying to be honest.
You're right. That is better. Yeah, we have to be honest. Grant, what are you studying? What's your class?
Well, I'm currently at community college doing a web design track certificate. I'll get a certificate at the end of the semester. Right now, I'm learning web design, PHP, jQuery, and yeah, those are it. And then I'm also taking a class called Media and Society, which I'm just kind of mad about because I don't want it. Like I want to learn how to code, not how technology is affecting people at large. Because I already did that in college. Like my original major was media studies, so like I already had that knowledge, and I'm just like, no, just let me sit at a computer and type out code. Don't make me sit here and do quizzes and write papers. That's not helping me learn coding. So
cool. Well, I'm glad you're in Code the Dream.
Yeah.
Good.
I feel like that's always how they start out. They start out by making you do all of these small classes that mean really nothing. And then towards the end, when you're right about to graduate the last semester, they're like, oh yeah, here's all the coding programs that you want to learn and graduate and do in your career. So it's like that in college. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Everyone who gets, I didn't mention this before, I'll just say this real quick, but everybody who goes through the program, who finishes and presents a project, you will all get a certificate. Just FYI.
I was just going to kind of piggyback off what Grant was saying. We were just saying the other day that it's frustrating because you have to kind of prioritize, college classes because you're paying for them and you're going to get a degree, supposedly at the end that's going to be worth something. But at the same time, this is more helpful as far as like actually learning. So we were just piggybacking off of what he was saying earlier is like, this is where I want to spend my time, but I do have to prioritize, like the 4 college classes that I paid for.
Sure. And ultimately, right, hopefully they'll, in the best case world, they'll work well together, and those college classes will maybe give you better like theoretical understanding and hopefully deepen the understanding, whereas Code the Dream will give you super practical skills and the experience that you need at a job. So hopefully they can work together.
Yeah, it's weird. I went to college and studied music, and my first class I ever had to take was like music, jazz history and jazz appreciation. And at the time I really hated those classes because I just wanted to do all my jazz labs and like actually play music. But they like later on, I felt like they provided a lot of context. Once I did understand all of the theory and stuff like that, like it helped me navigate some of the more advanced stuff by knowing like where to find the resources I was looking for and why certain musicians chose to make certain choices that they made and stuff like that. So I don't know. Some of those classes, I mean, I agree, like you want to be coding all the time, you're passionate about coding, but hopefully some of that stuff will come back and provide some value at some point. But yeah, coding's fun, do it all the time. And yeah, but try not to hate all the stuff that your teachers give you because maybe some of it will be useful one day. But hate it a little bit.
On the, you mentioned that we would get a certificate upon completion of this. Will that show up as a boot camp, or what will that show up as?
Well, that's a good question. So your certificate will show what, was covered in the class. And it's not, I mean, it's not
Accredited.
not a certification by the state or by anyone else, but it will show that you went through the Code the Dream school, and which is, I guess, basically equivalent to a boot camp. I don't know, Tom, how would you describe that?
I think what you said was spot on. Man, it's evidence that you came to the Code the Dream school, and that that we will vouch that you were in our program if you ever use us as a reference, or if anyone calls us.
Do you guys have any specific companies that you guys work with that are specifically looking for like minorities to work in the field? Because I know it's very difficult for a lot of companies. Do you guys have close ties with any?
I mean, we have relationships with companies, definitely. We don't have like official relationships where they agree to hire X amount of developers a year. But we have people, and I would say somebody on our staff talks to a company, multiple times a week, that is reaching out looking for, for developers, and just we have conversations. And that's something that we're actively spending more time trying to develop. Are some more concrete, I guess, things, but right now it's more just like we have loose relationships with companies that know that they can reach out to us, and that we have lots of interns that are working on projects that might fit exactly what they're looking for.
Nice.
One thing that we do, I don't know if you guys have seen it yet. I've never called it attention to you guys, but on the website, the learn.codethedream site, there is a link to a what we call the job seekers toolkit. And that's something you might want to take a look at. It's just sort of a guide. It's not, it's a guide to help you start thinking about what you want to do as you're starting to think about preparing for jobs. So it's, looking at how to build your portfolio. What should that include? What are some tips for refining your LinkedIn and your resume? So those are all things you want to start thinking about, and we provide support for folks who are working on that. And we also do various workshops, mostly with our interns, but there are times when we open that up broader, and certainly we should probably do that more. But yeah, we want to support, even though most people who go through Code the Dream program find jobs on their own. We do provide support. So if you ever wanted somebody to look at your resume or look at your LinkedIn or whatever, we can certainly help with that stuff.
Do you guys find that most of the people that graduate from, let's say, the JavaScript course and the Ruby course, would they likely go on to do an internship and then become a junior developer? Or do you ever have people that jump straight from doing 2 of these classes to junior developer?
I had a conversation with somebody last night who left one of our classes, did not finish the final project because he got a job as a developer.
Oh,
Now,
nice.
I will say, now that was in a very advanced class. We have different levels of classes. That was in an extremely advanced class, and he had some knowledge coming in. But it's possible. Now, this class was set up as an intro. So this class is hopefully it was setting you up to go to the Ruby on Rails track, or later on in the year we'll have a React track, front end track. So this class was set up as an intro, but the idea is you move through the program from the intro to either front end or back end. Folks who go through the Code the Dream apprenticeship, which it is very competitive to get into, but folks who go through the Code the Dream apprenticeship will almost definitely get a job as a developer. And many people who don't get into the internship, or because we just literally don't have space, many other people also get jobs as developers. Tom, do you want to build on that at all?
No, I mean, I don't know what I would have to add to it. I would say that, yeah, from the Rails and the front end classes, yeah, occasionally there's one or two people that immediately get jobs, and a majority or the ones that come on and become interns are, typically job ready in about a year, if not sooner. Three months to a year, I would say, is like about what we look for, or about the way it's happening.
I think some advice would be, no matter what happens, like the key is to keep coding, right? That it's really hard. Even between the end of Catarina and the beginning of Ruby on Rails, there's like what, a month, or wait, not even really. Yeah, a month. You during that time, you're gonna want to still code every day, and we actually had brainstormed some activities, some ideas of stuff y'all could be doing within that month too, so that you really don't lose it at all. So even if you don't get the internship or get a job immediately or whatever, the key is to just keep learning. There are so many resources out there, and now you guys have a really good foundation to start on your own personal projects. Even a lot of our staff, even how you guys turn in your assignments through that Squibby Slack bot. That's just something Tom built, like in his free time. So there's almost all of our developers have these little side projects that they do just even on their time, because people love coding and they're just working on it. And, so don't stop building, and that is going to be good for your portfolio too.
You said they're about at the end of a set of classes. You said you guys usually have like 1 or 2 internships available, right? How many?
It really depends. Anywhere between 1 and 2 and 5 or 6. It really depends on how many people have gotten jobs that are interns right now. Also, the amount of work. So, Code the Dream Labs, which is the apprenticeship program, really works as, it's essentially like a small development shop. So we take on client work, and there are a few staff developers, and then there's 3 people kind of like myself who are senior mentor-ish people that help manage the projects. And so if we were to take on a lot more work, then we would be able to take on more interns. It's really like a balancing act of, how many interns we have that can help do the work and versus the work, I guess.
And what our funding is, if we have where our grants are at.
Yeah, if like Bill Gates gives us like $1 billion tomorrow, then we'll give everyone internships.
How many people are there generally applying? So I'm guessing it's every, like 6 months you guys open up opportunities for that?
That's about right. I think we're kind of in a transitionary period where we're trying to, hopefully at some point we'll have classes ending every 3 months, but that's probably a year away from like that cycle being in full swing. So I think for 2021, it's probably going to be about every 6 months. But then we'll have kind of a staggered class situation going where classes will start every 3 months. So at that point, at some point, it'll start being more regular, I think.
So the internship 6 months long, or is there a set length?
That's the internship is, we typically ask interns to commit to 6 months with like a minimum of 3 months and a maximum of about a year.
This is we're changing things a little bit, Kevin. Don't get worried. Yeah, Cassidy has a great question. So yes, we do have another program which we're starting to hopefully give people more direct experience, and that's called our practicum projects, which we're always sort of trying to figure out the best way to do that. But so for folks who don't get into the internship for whatever reason, we're trying to provide as many opportunities as possible to still work on real projects through what we call the practicum. But there's still going to be a, I guess, application process for that, just because it's also, there's just more demand than supply, or that we've got available. So, but yes, that's usually, it's a part-time unpaid option after most of the classes.
Sorry, I meant to ask a clarifying question earlier. Lori, you had mentioned that if you went through a course and felt like you could still benefit from the course, that you could retake it. Is that common, where people will take a course twice just to reinforce what they've already learned? And do, what was the other question? I felt, I was just asking because it felt, I had never heard you mention people taking it twice before. So is that like a common practice?
It's some, I don't know if I'd say common, but I recommend it. I think it's really good to drill down on those skills. And Tom, would you agree with that? I mean, what's your feeling about retaking classes? It definitely happens.
I mean, what's the question? I mean, yes.
Is that common, and is that a good idea to retake a class?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really a case-by-case basis. I think if, like, a lot of stuff can happen during the course of 6 weeks, and I think especially in a class that's free, like, life happens and this becomes not a priority, and then so maybe you struggle or don't have the time to put into it, and then but you still really want to learn it, and 6 months later or 3 months later you want to take it again. I think in those situations it absolutely makes sense. Or if you just really struggled and want to take it again, like, everyone learns at different paces, and coding is weird, and a lot of us start with like way different amounts like of coding experience. Maybe some people like did mess around with some coding at some point in their lives, and some people didn't. So I think there's a lot of reasons it might be good to take it again. So yeah, I think it's great if that's something that is helpful and that you're passionate about it and you still want to continue pursuing this. Yeah, but also if you're ready, then take the next class. There's a million online things. I mean, I think I think that everyone never feels ready as a coder, and you always feel intimidated and that you don't know enough. And a lot of times I think you know a lot more than you think you do. So you should always push yourself also. It should be hard. I mean, that sucks, but it's not that it should be hard, it is hard. So yeah. I don't know if that helped answer the question, but
No, it did. Thank you. That is totally what I was asking. I'm taking like Grant and I think someone else, I'm taking college courses too. And sometimes I'm just like, am I working on a Java project? Am I working on a C++ project? It's a C#. And so sometimes I'm like, oh man, maybe I should just retake what I was taking before to reinforce my JavaScript knowledge. And that way I know what I'm doing, if that makes sense, because I'm kind of taking everything all at the same time. It would be helpful if JavaScript was what I was focusing on.
yeah.
So yeah, that answered the question. Thank you.
Of course.
Tom, I know you have another meeting, so I don't want you to feel like
I
you have to.
have to get out of here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I really lost track of time. Thanks, y'all, for the time and your commitment to the course and sticking with it.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see your websites.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, bye, y'all.
So Tom was the real developer, but I can answer maybe some other questions if there are any. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, I think that's it. Unless anybody's got other, if you just want to chat too, that's cool. Whatever works. All right, Cassidy, let's see the cat. Ah. Amazing.
His name's Patrick. He wants his shrimp.
Very cute. Kevin, you have any advice for anybody? For new developers?
No, pretty much what Tom said, just, repetition. And I mean, if you don't have much time, 10 minutes, a day, it takes you a long way, just so you won't forget stuff. And, mostly just, if you can focus on, like if you're doing temporal literals or functions, focus on that until you actually get a good understanding and then move on to the next. I think that works for most new developers, especially for me, and I guess some other peers in my class. Just repetition is the way to go to learn coding.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So I know you guys aren't doing, I guess, in-class meetings because of COVID. Do you guys think you're going to start doing that anytime soon?
Probably not. Well, definitely not during COVID, but even outside of COVID, we had already moved to fully remote for our classes.
Okay.
This class is a little bit unique because y'all are all in North Carolina. And as you know, it was sort of focused on rural North Carolinians. But most of our classes are nationwide. So we have people all over the country. So we're gonna continue to do the mentor sessions as we do them online. But
Okay.
I mean, I really encourage if there's people who are in the same area to get, not during COVID, obviously, but other times to get together and, even just study together or watch the videos together or to work on the assignments together. I know a lot of y'all did that, so I think that's awesome. Really
Okay.
helpful. Yeah. Cool. All right. We will be sending out the details of what we went over regarding the classes or regarding the final projects. And Lydia, if you could also create a sign-up sheet just so that and we need to send out the final project whatchamacallit form so people can turn it in. But we'll create like a little sign-up sheet. Is everyone, now I see Miss Francine says you're going to create the website someday. I assume you are saying probably not on the 19th.
Probably not, but hey, I will plan on sitting in to listen.
Great.
So,
Well,
I'm learning.
Is everybody else planning to present on the 19th?
Yes.
Great. If we have, I know there's people who aren't here, but we'll have a sign-up sheet to make sure. And if there's like 15 people, I don't know if we run it, maybe we'll break it up into 2 nights or something. We'll see. So we'll double check on the numbers. All right. Awesome, y'all. I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you for
guys.
everything.
Y'all take
Thank
care. Have a great
You
evening.
too. You too. Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.